Every morning in 1963, a woman named Myrtle Johnson packed her husband's lunch at 5:30 in the dark in Baltimore. He worked the docks. He left before the sun came up. Inside that paper bag every day was a sandwich, different each time, made from whatever was in the kitchen, whatever stretched, whatever would still be good at noon, sitting in a locker on the waterfront. She didn't think of herself as creative. She thought of herself as practical. Keep an eye on number 4. Food writers have been rediscovering it for years, but your grandparents never stopped eating it. And number 12, more American children ate this for school lunch in the early 1960s than almost anything else. Then it disappeared so completely that most people under 50 have never heard the name. As for number 1, I've been thinking about it for weeks. I have a theory about why we stopped eating it that I'll share at the end. I think you'll recognize something in it. 15 sandwiches. Real ones. The ones that fed this country when feeding this country was not glamorous. Number 15. Cucumber and butter on white bread. Thin sliced cucumber, soft butter, white bread with the crusts cut off if you were feeling ambitious. This filtered down from English tea culture into American households through church socials and ladies' lunches, and eventually into any brown bag where cucumbers were ready in the garden in July. The butter was the point. It sealed the bread against moisture, added fat that made a light sandwich feel substantial, and it prevented the sogginess that ruins a cucumber sandwich if you skip it. Without the butter, cucumber on bread is a disappointment. With it, it is genuinely cooling and satisfying in a way that is hard to explain without eating one. Women who made these did not consider themselves fancy. They were using the cucumber before it got any bigger. Number 14. Cream cheese and green olive. Softened cream cheese spread thick on white bread, topped with sliced green olives from the jar. The combination sounds odd until you taste it. Cool, mild richness against briny, oily bursts from the olive. This appeared at church potlucks and bridge clubs across the Midwest and Mid-Atlantic, usually cut into triangles. It also went into lunch bags because cream cheese and a jar of olives were both cheap and kept well. The olive had strong enough flavor that a few slices went a long way. The cream cheese was the affordable luxury, a thick spread that made white bread feel like something. Women who made this sandwich knew they were making something that tasted better than it had any right to at that price. Number 13. Apple butter on a biscuit. A leftover biscuit from breakfast, split and spread with apple butter from a jar. Homemade if it had been a good fall, or store-bought if it had not. Apple butter is not butter. It is apples cooked down so long with sugar, cinnamon, and cider that they become a dark, intensely sweet and tart spread. Musselman's apple butter was about 20 cents a jar in 1963, and it lasted for weeks. On a split biscuit with its tender, slightly crumbly interior, it was one of the simpler and more underrated pleasures of the 1960s kitchen. There was no name for it on any menu. It was just what you did with a biscuit and a jar when a child was hungry and you needed something in their hand. Number 12, the Fluffernutter, peanut butter on one slice, marshmallow fluff on the other, pressed together. The word Fluffernutter was officially coined in 1960 in a Durkee Mower advertising campaign, but the combination was already standard in New England kitchens, long before it had a name. By the early 1960s, Fluffernutters were in lunchboxes across New England and spreading south. For a child, this was the best possible sandwich. Sweet and savory and sticky, no refrigeration needed. Assembled in 30 seconds and costing almost nothing. But in 1962, it was simply lunch. Some of you ate hundreds of them. Some of you are thinking about making one right now. Both are correct responses. Number 11, tuna salad with sweet pickle relish. Canned tuna, mayonnaise, and sweet pickle relish, stirred together and spread on white bread. A 5-ounce can of tuna cost 22 cents in 1963. The relish, already in the refrigerator from something else, cost pennies per spoonful. 4 sandwiches came to under 40 cents. What made 1960s tuna salad different from modern versions was the ratio: more relish, more mayonnaise. No celery, no red onion, no capers. Just tuna, mayonnaise, and the sweet pickle that cut through the richness and gave the whole thing something to be. Women who made tuna salad made it the same way every time, from memory, hitting the same texture and flavor so reliably that their children could identify it without looking. Number 10. Egg salad on white bread. Hard-boiled eggs, mayonnaise, salt, a little yellow mustard if you had it, chopped and spread. White bread. Eggs were the cheapest complete protein in the American kitchen in the 1960s. Hard-boiling 4 of them made lunch for under 15 cents in protein cost. The mustard, when it appeared, lifted the egg flavor without announcing itself. Egg salad on white bread was the lunch you made when you had a dozen eggs and nothing more pressing. And it was good enough that nobody complained. The texture is what people remember. The slight give of the chopped egg, the creaminess of the mayo, the bread going a little soft where the salad touched it. Egg salad is the specific lunch memory of millions of Americans who grew up in the 1960s. The people who loved it love it completely. They always will. I want to pause here. Every sandwich on this list was made by someone standing in a kitchen, early morning or the night before, trying to make something good out of what was there. Not following a recipe, just knowing from years of practice how to turn what was in the refrigerator into something that would sustain another person through their day. We had a word for that once. It was called knowing how to cook. We stopped treating it like a skill. Sharp cheddar, mayonnaise, diced pimentos from a small jar, a pinch of cayenne, mixed until spreadable, loaded onto white bread. Hal Crowther once called it the pâté of the South, and he was right. Pimento cheese was the working-class South sandwich filling from the Depression through the 1970s. Cheap to make, kept for days in the refrigerator, spread thick, and eaten without ceremony. The cayenne was the secret. Not enough to make it hot, just enough to make the cheese taste sharper than it was. Women who made pimento cheese made it their own way and were quietly territorial about the result. It remains one of the few sandwich fillings with genuine regional identity and genuine partisans who will still argue about it over a church supper. Number 8. Deviled ham on white bread. The little can with the red devil on the label, spread straight from the can onto white bread. Underwood. Deviled ham carries the oldest surviving trademark in American food marketing. The Red Devil logo has appeared continuously on Underwood cans since 1867. By the 1960s, it was a pantry staple. It cost 19 cents a can, required no preparation, and needed no refrigeration until opened. It tasted like ham that had been spiced and ground into something more intensely flavored than any sliced version, with a sharpness from the mustard in the blend. Children ate it without question. Adults ate it when there was no time for anything else. It kept indefinitely on the shelf, and it solved the problem of what to put in a lunch bag when everything else had run out. Myrtle packed it in her husband's lunch on the tightest weeks, without comment. He ate it at noon on the waterfront and was full until he got home. Number 7. Banana and mayonnaise on white bread. Sliced banana, a spread of mayonnaise on white bread. I know how this sounds. Hear it out. The banana is sweet and soft. The mayonnaise is fatty, slightly tangy and salty. Together they don't read as sweet, and they don't read as savory. They occupy their own territory, which is the sign of a combination that actually works. This was most common in the Deep South, from Alabama through Mississippi, eaten by both children and adults. It cost almost nothing. A banana was 2 or 3 cents, and it was filling, calorie-dense, and genuinely satisfying once you let go of the category problem. Someone in your family made this. Maybe you did too. Drop a comment if you recognize it, and tell me what you called it, because the names for this sandwich vary by county. Number 6. Liverwurst on dark bread. Liverwurst, smooth, spreadable pork liver sausage, on rye or pumpernickel with yellow mustard. German and Eastern European immigrants brought liverwurst to American cities in the 19th century, and by the 1960s, it was a fixture in the grocery stores of any city with a significant immigrant population. A pound cost about 30 cents, enough for many sandwiches. The flavor is rich, mineral, and deeply savory. Organ meat made palatable by the smoking and spicing process, tamed by the mustard, anchored by the dark bread. Children who grew up eating liverwurst sandwiches either loved them or refused them. The ones who loved them have been looking for the same sandwich for 60 years. Liverwurst has largely vanished from the American lunch, a casualty of the drift after the 1970s away from organ meats toward proteins that required no explanation. Number 5. The potato sandwich. Leftover. Mashed potatoes, warm or cold from the refrigerator, spread thick between 2 slices of white bread. Salt, sometimes butter. This is the survival sandwich, the one you made when everything else was gone. Both ingredients were already paid for, already cooked. The sandwich cost nothing, and it was filling, dense, starchy, satisfying in the way that only carbohydrate on carbohydrate can be when you are very hungry and there is nothing else. Women who made potato sandwiches for their children did not explain them. You handed it to the child and the child ate it. The potato sandwich makes no pretense of being anything other than what it is: bread and last night's potatoes. Sustenance. Tomorrow will be different. You've made it to number 5. Thank you for staying. If your family made any of these, I want to know whose hands did the making. Leave the name in the sandwich below. I read every comment. Number 4. Peanut butter and dill pickle. Peanut butter spread generously with sliced dill pickles on white bread. This surprises people until they try it. It surprises them further when they realize it really works. The peanut butter is rich, sweet, and fatty. The pickle is cold, sharp, acidic, and crunchy. They balance each other by the same logic that makes any good sandwich. Something rich needs something sharp, and something soft needs something with texture. This was common in Southern and Midwestern households, where both ingredients were always present: peanut butter in the cabinet and dill pickles in the refrigerator. Food writers rediscovered it around 2015, as if they had invented something. Your grandparents ate it without making a fuss in approximately 1961 and called it a perfectly normal Tuesday lunch. Some food trends are just forgotten. Ordinary things wearing new clothes. Number 3. Beef tongue on rye. Thinly sliced boiled beef tongue, yellow mustard, rye bread. Tongue was not a luxury cut in 1963. It was a butcher's item, inexpensive, widely available in any city with Jewish, German, or Eastern European communities, and richly flavored in a way that sliced turkey can only approximate. The preparation takes time. The tongue simmers for hours until tender. The outer skin is peeled while warm, and what is underneath is smooth, pink, and sliceable. Women who made tongue on weekends had lunches for the week. It appears in 0 mainstream American cookbooks published after 1972. I want to say something about that disappearance. The sandwiches on this list that have vanished most completely stopped being made not because they stopped tasting good, but because something changed in how Americans wanted to think about food. We wanted food that did not remind us of poverty, food that did not remind us of anatomy. That erasure did not happen to the food. It happened to us. Number 2. Open-faced hot roast beef with brown gravy. 2 slices of white bread laid flat on a plate. Leftover roast beef, sliced thin, piled on top. Hot brown gravy poured over everything. Eaten with a fork. 75 cents on the menu at any lunch counter in America in 1963. It was also made at home on Mondays with Sunday's roast and the drippings from the pan. The gravy soaked the bread until it was no longer bread, but something that had absorbed all the flavor of the meat and the long cooking, and the beef went soft, and gave way at the touch. The open-faced hot sandwich has nearly vanished from American menus. It requires two things that fast food eliminated: sitting down and gravy. Neither is compatible with eating in your car. The lunch counter where Myrtle's husband stopped on Fridays had it on the menu every day. He said it was the best thing they made. Number 1. Fried bologna with yellow mustard. 1 or 2 slices of bologna. A hot cast iron skillet. The bologna goes in flat. The center puffs up as it heats. You make 1 cut from edge to center so it lies flat again and fries evenly. Dark at the edges, slightly crisp. White bread, yellow mustard. The frying transforms it. The Maillard reaction deepens the flavor and adds texture the raw slice can never have. The mustard cuts the fat. The bread absorbs both. It is not a complicated thing. It is a perfect thing. Here is my theory about why we stopped making it. In the 1970s and the 1980s, as deli culture spread and fast food redefined what a sandwich should be, the bologna sandwich became shorthand for poverty, for the lunch of people who could not afford better. Fried bologna carried extra stigma. The extra step of cooking it seemed like desperation rather than technique. By 1985, admitting you ate it was the kind of thing you did quietly, if at all. But fried bologna tastes better than it has any right to. It tastes better than many sandwiches made with ingredients that cost 5 times as much. The people who grew up eating it know this, and most of them still make it occasionally, when they are alone, when they want something fast and certain and exactly right. They do not post about it, they just make it. Myrtle packed fried bologna in her husband's lunch on the mornings she had time to fry it. He said he preferred it to anything else she made. She said she did not believe him. They were both telling the truth. If you grew up eating any of these 15 sandwiches, tell me which one and whose hands made it. Those details matter more than you think. Leave them below. And if someone in your life is still making any of these, still frying bologna, still spreading pimento cheese, still packing liverwurst on rye like it's 1963, please don't let them stop. And don't let yourself forget.